To start with, in order to adjust the valve settings on the R1150 or the R1100 for that matter, I've basically only taken off the valve cover over here. It's basically only with 4 bolts. Some of the models, if it's a R and RC, some uses TX bolts, other uses Allen keys. And I've only taken out the rubber in the middle as well that seals off between the valve cover and the head. And I've also basically taken out the spark plug just to have it easily turn without compression on this cylinder at the same time. Obviously you can take off the other side and remove that as well, and it'll turn easily by then. Now first we need to do is we need to get the piston at TDC so that both the rockers on both sides are loose. At the moment you'll see it's only the intake side that is a bit loose, but the exhaust valve is compressed at the moment, so we cannot adjust that one. So how do we get it onto TDC? Well, the answer is quite simple. So let me move to the other side of the motorcycle and we'll take it from there. We'll show you on that side. Now, on the inside or on the right side of the motorcycle, not the inside, there is a little window right over there against the block that you can see over there. And it's got this little plug that I took it out with a screwdriver and with my fingernails. And basically what that is the timing mark. It's got 2 timing marks, one for each cylinder. It's I can't remember, it's marked. It's got 2 marks. We'll see what it says in a moment. The other thing that I've did is I've taken off the valve cover in front, or not the valve cover, the cover that covers the alternator and the crank. Taken that off so you can see the crank pulley over there, and that I'm going to turn with a socket and the ring and the ratchet like this in order to turn the motor. Now we only turn the motor clockwise and never anti-clockwise, and that is very important to remember in this case. So I'm taking a torch and I'm having a look inside this little hole, this timing hole that I've opened up, and while I'm turning the motor like so, there we see is the one mark. It says SOT, so that is obviously the one side. So let's see if we can get a clear picture of that. It's very hard to see here, past all the wires and everything. I'll take a picture there. You can see it says OT. You can slightly see it. Above that is an S. Now it's got 2 of those marks. Like I said, obviously there's one for each cylinder. Now, one for each side. Obviously the one side would be free then, and the other side would be compressed. If that is still compressed and it is not free at all, you can't get any spacing between the valves and so on, you turn the motor further until you get to the next mark, and that will then free up the rocker arms on the other side. So let's turn until we see the other one. It would look exactly the same, says exactly the same as well. It says SOT. And you just keep on turning the motor until you reach that one. There we go. We've got the second one in sight. And once you've got the second one in sight, you'll see that the rocker arms are both a slight bit loose. In other words, we can test them and we can adjust them. So what would be the size that they would need to be? Well, there's 2 sizes. On the exhaust housing, it would be, see if I can get this close enough, 0.3 millimeters, and on the intake side it would be 0.15 millimeters, like that. So let's quickly measure them and see how the spacing is looking at the moment. Oh, the clearance is looking very good on the exhaust side. Let's check the other one as well. Yes, very good. It's got a slight pinch, exactly the way it should be. Have a look on the intake side with the 0.15 millimeter feeler gauge. Also got a slight pinch, also a slight pinch. So they are actually set very well. Now, once they are set very well, you can just cover up everything again. You can put that little seal on the inside, put it on the rocker cover on the inside instead of in there. Otherwise, if you leave it in there and you put the valve cover back, it would damage the seal and it would not seal off properly. Should the valves need to be adjusted, all you need to do is get a 3 millimeter, what is this? Yes, it's a 3 millimeter Allen key and a 10 millimeter socket. All you need to do then is you need to loosen the nut on the outside of the rocker like that, or of the adjuster, and then you need to hold it in place with the 3 millimeter Allen key in the middle. You can loosen that, adjust the shaft or the pin until it's the right tension on the valve, which you can measure with your feeler gauge, and thereafter keep it in place with the Allen key and then just tighten it with the 10 millimeter wrench again. Once that is done, it would be locked and the timing clearances would be very good. So why would you do the timing clearances? Well, there can be a couple of reasons. If you start the motorcycle, it would have a knocking noise, which would be the rockers hitting against the valve basically, or against the adjusting pin. So in other words, it's going to make that little ticking noise the whole time. If it doesn't make the ticking noise, you that would be most probably what you're hearing, but it can also be a bit down in power. So if you then readjust the valves correctly, you would feel a slight increase in power, because then the valves would not be overlappingly opening and closing, and the exhaust valves and the intake valves would be staying open and closed at the correct intervals and the correct amount of time, which is exactly what you want. If they stay open a bit too long or a bit too short, you won't get the correct combustion in your chambers and the power would go down. So all I need to do now is put back the valve cover and the spark plug and the plug wire, and basically just tighten everything up. Just check the O-ring at the outside of see if there's any damage, and if that needs to be replaced, you need to replace that as well. So if you did like this video and you found it useful, be sure to like the video and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And if you want to support my channel, please also have a look at the super thanks icon down below. So until next time, thank you very much, guys.